FHT at Cigar Masfino with Lisa Turpin. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you, sir. It's nice to be here.
For those of you that don't know Lisa, she is the mother of one of our Fresno Monsters, number 14, Zach Turpin. As you know, the Monsters are getting ready for their big 3-game set at Selland Arena. That's why Lisa's here. Welcome to Fresno.
Thank you very much.
So how was your ride? How was the drive?
It was very long.
Yeah.
It was very, very long.
Right.
But
Like 1,000 kilometers or something.
yeah, I think we're at 13.
Wow. Okay.
14? All right.
So that's
Hello, thank you
that's
for
a
joining
long
us.
road trip.
So,
I had one pee break.
Wow.
And the rest were all gas stops and walking around the park, except for the blizzard at the border between Oregon and California.
I think my friend Darren would have stopped at least 15.
yeah, I have a tiny tank.
Oh, yeah, no, not me. I bought a car with a much better tank now. It's
No,
way...
I have a tiny
Yeah,
tank.
I got the sentiment.
Aiden, thank you, by the way, for joining us.
You're very welcome.
And so, you know, what we like to do here at FHE Sports from Cigar Masfino is, it's not an interview, it's a conversation, you know? And we just have some people who will peer in every once in a while, we'll replay it. A lot of questions that we have for you, you know, if you don't mind.
Totally don't mind.
So, first question I had, did you know where Fresno, California was?
No, I didn't.
There you go.
When Mark saw Zach at Global, apparently, and invited him to come down.
Now, Mark, you mean Mark Halp, right?
Yeah,
Coach
yeah.
of the Fresno
Bulldogs.
State Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he had seen Zach at a Global tryout in Vancouver, and we're very budget conscious, so we give Zach a $1,000 spring camp budget, and he gets to choose where he goes. So we got the invite from Mark, and I said, well, you know what, this one you might actually be able to do, because we've got some points. Maybe you should try the hockey college experience and see if it's what you want to do. So we let him come down. It was the same weekend we listed our house in Lions Bay that he grew up in, and as soon as we landed, we had an offer. So we kind of figured there was something magical about Fresno, and then when he went back to Vancouver, he was always supposed to go back to Sycamoose, and they had a coaching change, so of course with coaching changes, there's changes, and he had a couple of offers to go out east.
Hey, Avery.
Which
Go ahead.
would work for me, because that's too far a drive for me. So we talked to a whole bunch of his coaches, so we've been really, really lucky with Zach because he's gotten along with all of his coaches. So as soon as we found out Sycamoose wasn't in the cards, we got on the messenger and got a hold of Mark, and Mark's like, well, you know what, Kevin really liked them, so let me talk to Kevin, and we had an offer from his San Diego.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we had.
You want to be on that team. For those that don't know, San Diego has won 3 games out of 38 or 39.
And we're not trash talking, we're just talking about a record. I'm sure they're fine players.
But it's a beautiful place.
Yeah, I've seen there as well, but...
Great place for Comic-Con.
And it might have been good for hockey if Zach
Yes.
was on there. Yeah, you never know.
Yes.
So he works at West Coast Prep Camp with Nate Leslie every summer, and that used to be his birthday present. So he'd say, can I go to
Excellent.
West Coast Prep Camp?
We will be
for my
there.
birthday? And every year that's what we'd buy him, and we'd prepay for it every month, and he'd go see Nate. So he met a whole bunch of the coaches from this league there. So Bellingham, San Diego, and another gentleman. And Greg kind of got stuck with doing the hockey for the first time ever. And Zach and Greg decided this was
Excellent.
where we were landing. So
That's great. So yeah, it's interesting how people end up,
You know,
in the middle of California. You would figure there wouldn't be this hockey culture, and it is.
it's intense.
Yeah.
so I'm the man behind the camera. You won't hear from me too much, folks, but if I can, kind of start at his passion for hockey. When did it start? Kind of go through the in-house to travel to when you knew you had somebody special.
Okay, so he started, Emily Oliver, one of my daycare students, her dad had a backyard rink. And Zach at 18 months-ish was on bob skates on her backyard with her dad. And the face was just, you know, I didn't really think much of it. I'm not a big skater, but Greg used to play hockey donkeys years ago, but not very much.
Right.
I knew nothing about hockey. My parents were British. And so when we moved from Kamloops to Vancouver, of course he was old enough to talk, and he's like, it must be time to register for hockey. And I went, yeah, it's only October. You don't register in October.
Yeah.
Rookie green.
Right.
Rookie green, Mom. So I go into the rec center finally in the middle of October, and I said, how do we register for hockey? My son really wants to play. He was in kindergarten. He'd done a couple of skating lessons, and he had sticks on the deck with the daycare kids, and Matt Tucanen was one of my daycare guys who was a goalie. And he taught Zach everything. He and Mitch and Brett would be on my balcony playing hockey. Zach finally gets registered for hockey, and I think Ian Verrigan and Keith Hammond and Carlos must have thought I was an absolute idiot. And most people do. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. But
Well, you were new. You didn't know what to do.
well, I'm still new. I still have no idea what to do. But so I show up.
I live my life that way.
I show up, and because Zach really wanted to do this, and we're pretty budget conscious humans, and he was already in soccer, so I said, we're only paying for one, and soccer was nice and cheap. And he was good at it, and he loved it. And we said, hockey's $400. You're going to have to pay half. And he collected pop cans, returned all his toys at 4 years old, took his toys
That is
to the consignment store.
unbelievable.
Yeah, and he paid me. He went to the bank machine because we gave him a bank card.
We call it a bank machine in Canada.
Yeah.
Right, not an ATM, it's a bank
No,
machine.
it's a bank
That's
machine.
right.
You're
Thank
going to the bank,
you.
and
New
it's a
York, they're
machine.
bank machines.
So he went to the little bank machine, took his card, and gave me $200 cash. And every season, until he went to play for the Nanaimo Bucks, he paid me half. And he said, Mom, I don't think I can do the $3,000 this year. Is that okay? And then, so long story short about him paying, the money he gave me, I stuck in his registered education plan.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
So when he went to apply for college and scholarships, he said, how much do I have in my RESP? I said, well, why do you want to know? And he goes, well, the scholarship asks, how much have I got? And I said, well, shit. We were going to give you an Ed McMahon check for grad
That's
with
right.
all your hockey fees.
Right.
And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, you've got like $10,000, sweetheart. And he goes, what? How much have I got? And I was like, damn. Like, I so wanted to give him the check for grad and just be like, hey. But,
That's awesome.
So, yeah, Carlos and Ian and Keith taught him all through Hockey 3. Carlos picked him up again for Hockey 3 with him because they have an age differential. So he was supposed to go to hockey because he started a year younger than all their kids. And he grabbed onto him for another year because there weren't enough kids. So he always says, I played up. Anyway, there wasn't enough room.
Right.
And when I showed up at the rink, Keith just looked at me, and he's one of the security guards for the Canucks. And he looked at me and he said, you do know he needs a stick, right? I said, I just paid you $400. Doesn't it come with a stick?
It just comes with hopes and dreams. It just comes with hopes and dreams.
I had no idea. Anyway, so he totally loved it. We didn't realize he was good. Carlos told us to put him in with Dusan Winecki at HPC in Vancouver, in North Vancouver. And so Dusan picked him up, and he did spring hockey because we got told, oh, well, he should do spring hockey. I had no idea what spring hockey was, but he loved it. So he was smiling and having fun, and he was a rep goalie in Adam. He was a rep forward, a rep defenseman. He got dressed in the 5-minute. We get 5 minutes back home for the goalies if there's an issue. We had to literally strip one goalie down and dress Zach in goalie gear when he played Bantam. And like he just loves it, and he smiles. But his coach in Bantam told all the kids that they should go try this U16 with BC hockey, right? So it's the Canada, the BC team. So we go, and we're with a whole bunch of other friends from Hollyburn Country Club. Eric Christensen was there with his son Jake, who plays in the WHL, and he's awesome. Like, that kid went to school with Zach, and he gets up at 5:30 in the morning from the time Zach and he were in grade 8 together, and probably before. He'd shoot 100 pucks, he'd go for a half-hour rollerblade, come home, and shoot another 100 pucks. Right? Like, that kid wants it.
Without being prompted to. He just does it on his own.
Just did it. And the nicest kid. The total nicest kid. Zach, he's a little hard to get out of bed, but he will stay on the deck until sunrise.
Right. He's a night bird.
He doesn't do mornings. He's never done mornings.
My daughter doesn't do mornings well.
Well, the only mornings he did do was Sunday mornings when Coach Verrigan, he had 6 a.m. optional Sunday practice because none of the Bantam 99s made...
We could see your words, yes. Keep continuing. I know.
None of the Bantam 99s made the rep team for Adam. And Ian said, you know what? There's free ice Sunday mornings at 6. I'll show up. If you kids show up, I'll show up. And every Sunday morning at 4:40, he would wake me up and I would drive him. I said, that's the only day I don't have to wake you up. He missed it one morning all season.
Wow.
4:40 a.m.
And
that's unbelievable.
That's what time he'd practice in the mornings, and never complained. Always got me up. He'd come and poke me in the morning, Mommy, I want to go. And so anyway, we do this U16 thing, and I'm stood outside with all our other friends from West Van Minor, and Jake's dad and I are standing together, and he said, well, Zach actually looks really good. And I said, oh, come on, no one from West Van ever makes this. Like, this is just because he wants to do it. And Eric's like, no, he actually looked really good. I don't know. I've never told him he was good. As long as he was smiling, I was good. And I would help pay for it, and I would help figure it out. I would help drive. I got 3 jobs to help make sure that we could do the academy in grade 8. Anyway, his buddies come out from West Van, and of course they look sad. And I'm trying to read Zach and going, okay, Eric, I think I'll just say, hey, so you're ready to go now? And he goes, I think he's probably in. I said, no, I don't think so. So Zach comes out, and I'm like, hey, you ready to go? Mom, we gotta go to the parent meeting.
Made the team.
You made the team.
And I went, I actually said, can I
Yes.
start on this? I actually said, are you fucking kidding me? And he looked at me, and I'm standing, the other dads from West Van were like, huh?
Awesome.
And Eric's like, see, I told you. So we immediately get on the phone and phone Coach Phil. And Phil's like, great job, Zach. I knew you had it in you and all this sort of stuff. We get to the parent meeting. Now, this is where politics comes in. So naive, I've always been.
This is why we have you here, just like the real deal.
Okay, so real deal. Naive, I volunteered to help because it's his passion. So I volunteered with PCHA, our league at home, the Lionsgate League, which is the non-rep competitive league. Anyway, we'd already talked to Coach Phil. We told his dad. He was like totally cloud 9, right? And of course, all his other friends were there. And this was before I think I'd let him have a cell phone, so he wasn't texting anybody to tell them. We get to the parent meeting, and Eric buys me a beer, and we're discussing how we're going to get the kids into Salmon Arm, and I'm with a whole bunch of Hollyburn and North Shore Winter Club parents, and a couple of other kids, and they picked 40 kids. Now, a lot of kids are away, or injured, or don't show up to this thing. So,
They've already made the team.
15-year-old kid. Oh, he must have had a cell phone. He must have had one because he texts me while I'm sitting there with Eric having a beer. And I get this text, Mom, you have to come and get me. And I went, what do you think this means? And Eric goes, I have no idea. So I go to meet him. They'd made a mistake. Zach was actually 41, not 40.
Wow.
No.
Now, as a parent,
No.
how the...
No.
do you-
Fudge. Fudge.
How the...
Fudge.
How the do you manage that, right? Like,
Wow.
you see the card too, and it says 40 crossed out with a green circle and 41 written beside it.
So somebody wanted to get their kid in who didn't make the cut.
Well, I think they just forgot somebody who was. I mean, I like to think better people than. And I tell you, Darren,
Chris.
It took me
We'll see you later, buddy.
Ounce of 24-hour rule of don't talk to the coach for 24 hours. It took me every ounce of composure not to wring these men's necks.
Oh.
And I looked at them, and I look at my 15-year-old child who has loved hockey more than anything since he was born, and I was speechless. Speechless.
Ben, you just joined us. Just to kind of recap, Lisa's talking about how her son made an elite team, one of 40, went to the parent meeting just for them to tell him, oh, we made a mistake, you were number 41. You got to leave.
So, then there was
Zach Splash, he just called your son.
What's that?
He called your son Zach Splash. That's a good thing.
I called him Splash?
No, the guy...
Oh, it's Zach Splash. Okay.
Yeah.
His nickname used to be Speedy.
You just wrote Go Zach Go.
So he, the car ride back, you sit there as a parent and you're like, do I talk to him? Do I not?
He's upset.
What does he need? How do I mitigate this? What do we do? And I said to the BC hockey guys after Zach kind of walked around the corner, I said, you know what, you guys? We would have paid the $600. You could have taken him to Salmon Arm for the bigger tryout and cut him there.
Yep.
That would have been the moral thing to do, in my
100%.
opinion.
100%.
Right?
Yep.
And that's what all the other parents who were through that system as well had said. And I can't believe they would do that to a child. Like, they're 15. They don't have the emotional wherewithal to wear that. So, but on the flip side of that, naive mom who's just been like, hey, yeah, you know, you love your hockey, whatever.
Right.
Naive mom finally got, oh shit, you are good. Like, oh, okay, maybe you are better than we thought you were. So he had been working with Ron Johnson, who works with some of the Sharks, San Jose Sharks players, and works with the LA King players. Anyways, Ron Johnson is an amazing coach. He tells it like it is. He takes a 2x4 to your head and knocks the sense into you, right? Like, he's a really great guy. And he picked Zach up for the Port Moody Panthers as an AP. So, you know, like, I had no idea what you were supposed to do. I left all this up to Zach. Like, I don't know what
you still have blissful ignorance at this point. As long as your kid's happy.
As long as he's happy. Like, right. So Ron said, you know what, come skate with us and practice with us. You're good.
For those that don't know, AP in Canada is like a red shirt here. So you practice with the team. You're not really on the roster, but you're an affiliated player.
Red shirt.
You can come up to the team if you got injuries.
If they need you or injuries.
Yes. So Zach went to every single practice with Ron. I drove, and then it was in Port Moody, and we're in Lions Bay. So he'd have his midget practice in West Van, and then every Tuesday and Thursday he'd go to Port Moody and practice with the Panthers. Get home at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
How long was the drive?
It was about 45 minutes. And he loved it. Ron and Terry was there too, and Terry was great. I remember watching one practice, and Zach put his glove up like this and knocked the puck away from taking Terry out. That was kind of fun. And Terry's like, "Oh, you just saved that." But he also got scouted by a great scout, Cam Miller, who works with him in Nine Bucks. And again, we were just told by fluke, go to Global and try out this Global thing, which is where Mark had seen Zach. But first, Cam Miller had seen Zach. The nicest guy ever. And when Kevin was talking about his mentor, I kind of thought, you know, this guy and Ron Johnson are very much, they're for sure my mentors through this whole crazy process. And Zach will often
I'm
text
sure you
them
do, Ben.
when he gets in a rut or needs some encouragement.
Good to have that, yeah.
Yeah, you need that shoulder that gets it on a different level. So Cam Miller was absolutely phenomenal. Zach went out to the Bucks spring camp and 1 year, and he didn't make it through because he was so young. Like he hadn't grown, and the next season Cam had him out there, and he took his friend Peter Blomberg, who now plays in St. Paul's. Peter came out to play with Zach at the tryouts, and Zach made the team. He got through everything, and we were just like, for me, watching Zach play hockey, it's his smile. I have never once said to him, this is what we want you to do. I would be quite happy if he wasn't playing hockey, but it's what he wants.
You see his joy, and you're a parent.
Yeah,
You love your child.
And it was funny because I was scouting for the scholarship game in Vancouver recently for their midget A kids. Some really great talent on these teams. And the dads that were scouting, proper scouting, as I call it, because I have no idea what I'm looking for. They said, well, what are you doing? How are you rating the kids? And I said, oh, well, I'm going by smile, I'm going by passing, and I'm going by assists.
Right.
And they said, oh, come on. So at the end of it, we all had the same kids.
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
And I said, well, obviously you're going to give it to 6 because he had the biggest grin on his face, and the whole entire time he was playing, he was smiling.
That's important.
And
Yes.
to me, when Zach doesn't smile, like I think I was texting you one day, and I'm like, Zach, or was it one of you two I was texting? I'm like, Zach's
Pretty
gonna
much the
score.
same person.
Zach's gonna score. He's smiling. He's on the bench. He's gonna score. And sure enough, that little bugger scored. And
But now we have a problem with that
what's that?
because we enjoy your tweets.
Oh, I know.
So if he scores, you can't tweet. That's
But
you got to come up with something else.
He's been off on injury.
Right.
So I'm not allowed to disband my tweets. So you guys
Right.
are kind of lucky because
There you go.
I still get to embarrass him. I had this walk. So I don't know if Fresno knows how lucky they are. Like when I came to settle him in here, I met you guys because you posted something
Yes.
about the casino night.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like, how nice is that? I can go and maybe help out and meet some hockey people around
Oh, we had a great
town.
time. That was a great night.
It was an awesome night, and I got to meet people who actually care about hockey and seem to see that same joy in their own kids.
Yes.
And I tell you, when I was at West Van, I used to manage Zach's teams a lot, and when I got skin cancer, I let this other gentleman manage the teams, and I relinquished some control, which is kind of hard for me. And he would stand at the side of the boards and go, if Yair's watching this, you'll love this. He used to stand at the sides of the boards, and I had to go to the timekeeper's box because I could not be around this gentleman while he wasn't my favorite human being, and And Yair would take me to the box, and I would keep myself busy in the box, or I'd pace on safety, and I'd walk around the rink. I couldn't handle watching them, Kevin. I can't handle watching them do this to each other. So I would always keep my eyes closed when they'd fight and bump each other, but I'd do the score sheet. And Yair was my sidekick and would keep me almost sane. Mm-hmm. And this guy would stand at the side. So I've always said, why do people yell at us when we're on the ice? We can't hear them.
Right.
So I kind of took that literally, and I never yell. I have gone postal at one game, and that was a brutal safety issue game.
That's usually my trigger as well, when it's a safety issue.
Oh, what the team had already told us that we were playing against this horrible ref, and he always calls only their team properly and tries to sink the other team. So Zach's on the ice, and this guy just rams him from behind. Huge hit up high, right from behind, he goes down. And as he's wobbling himself back up, there was no whistle and he was down. And I'm standing with a bunch of the dads that away games I have to kind of stand with them, and I didn't really like to stand with them because they get a little, and there's a little like this, and then there's like fan. Sometimes the fans, you can hear them, but dads sometimes, they may not be there because their child wants to be there. Some of them are living vicariously through their child, I think.
Yeah, stage dads.
Yeah, like, so my husband avoided going to many games because he wasn't like, we weren't that kind of parents, like, just weren't. But anyway, this kid rails Zach down, and Zach's just fumbling to get up, and I'm going, do I need to safety? I'm watching the coaches, do I need to come down? What are we doing? And no sooner does Zach just get up, he gets charged from the front and goes back the other way. Well, Mama nearly jumped over the freaking glass and was
Go, Mama,
yelling. One of the dads, who I wasn't really a fan of, he got kicked out because in Canada, I was explaining to Zach's parents, in Canada, you cannot yell at refs. You will go to jail if you yell at refs at a minor hockey game. So we're very quiet.
One of us has maybe been kicked out of a game or two over here.
Yes, accidentally on purpose.
Accidentally on purpose? Yes. So from what I hear, we're allowed to be very loud. So I'm looking forward to a little loud.
Yeah.
At that age, you can yell.
Yeah. Zach reassured me. I have seen a few of his junior games, but they weren't very.
Especially the Fresno fans.
Yes,
they're very loud.
They're passionate.
They're passionate. Exactly right.
Yeah. They energize our boys. Yes. They energize our boys. So I did get postal at that game.
I'm gonna stop you there because it brings up two questions.
Yes.
One is a question for Serge for you, and then there's the question about. I'll start with this one. Zach is now 18.
Yes.
Was your philosophy don't play during the off season and play something else, whatever he wants to do? Because you hear well-meaning people say,
I have no idea what he was supposed to do, so we left it up to him.
I like that.
So,
because you hear sometimes people say, well, walk away from the sport, do something else.
Well, he loved his sport, so why would you leave it?
I agree.
I mean, yeah, do some other stuff and explore your interests. So he did do roller hockey. Ball hockey or whatever, roller hockey. He played that for a couple of years with Jake Christensen and a couple of other buddies. So he did that. He's played basketball, he's played soccer,
so
he played
diversified.
rugby. He played
Great
rugby.
sport.
I don't know. That's worse than hockey.
That's worse than
hockey, as far as I'm concerned.
Get chilled.
Yeah, that sport. We had one friend who had brain surgery.
Oh, no good.
Because he got concussed so badly. So.
Now, I hate to sound flippant, coming off something so serious, and a brain injury. That's horrible. Serge, though, is not a big fan of the cowbell at a game.
I've never taken it once.
Yeah, I hate those parents with the cowbell. Really, I don't know.
So we need to know the Lisa Turpin. You own a team. You own the Turpins. Are you allowing cowbells? There's no right or wrong answer.
I think they get their own zone.
Okay.
If they get their, you can have a noisy zone at the game, and you can have a quiet Canadian passive fan
It's
zone.
one thing to have it when they score, but there's these parents offside. Oh, cowbell.
Yeah, and sometimes from the ice, I know at some games the kids where they have ice back to back, like at one of the arenas in Richmond. There's one sheet and then another sheet, and when the whistle goes on the other sheet,
oh, that drives
me
crazy.
We had that a couple of weeks ago, yeah.
Yep.
Freaking monster, ridiculous. But yeah.
By the way, not to interrupt you, Lisa has invented a new word. Maybe we want to talk about that.
Oh,
yes.
You want to talk about my new word?
I love the new word.
You like the new word?
I know.
It's Monstastic.
Monstastic. I love it.
Monstastic.
Monstastic. Selling Arena, by the way, is Monstastic.
Oh, it is freaking Monstastic.
So, sorry to interrupt. I know we went off topic, but has Zach ever had a chance to play in front of a crowd like that? Like, how's it going to feel?
Campbell River.
Yeah.
Campbell River had a crowd. Not that big. Not that big. Campbell River was the first game I went to with Cam Miller, and we went to watch the game. It was exhibition. Rookie mom shows up, and I'm sitting there with Cam and the coach and helping make sandwiches and all the rest of it, right? Because I don't like to be bored. Ask Jeff, he's got me handing out flyers for selling, which I'm very happy to do. Anyway, I'm sitting there and there's these guys, a family, looks like a family, two men, two women, sitting there, going ballistic. And me, being the brave, curious human I am, I'm like, oh, which children are yours? Oh, it wasn't Campbell River, it was Comox. And they said, well, we've been following the team for 20 years, and we're diehard fans. And I went, oh, so that was my first experience that there are actually people who come.
Fans, yes.
There are actually fans who come to watch my kid. This has been a minor hockey thing for so long. Like, what? What are you talking about? There's actually non-parents here?
Actually, Fresno is a pretty unique situation like that, where these kids are, even though they're playing junior, they're sort of like a pro setting.
Yeah.
They're celebrities.
They're minor celebrities in town.
Yep.
And you're going to see maybe hopefully 5,000 people at the games. It's going nuts.
Yeah. Well, I hope so, because the amount of work that, because Zach's taking college courses too right now, and the amount of work Kevin and Jeff and Bullet and all these guys, James and Tim, they've got them working so hard. They are pretty much 7 days a week. I think really they get Sundays off, but sometimes they've got a team appearance or something going on Sundays. I don't know any junior A team that I've heard of back home that is working as hard as Kevin works these boys.
He's a special coach.
Oh, he's amazing. Zach got really lucky. Like, Greg knew Kevin from back in the day, so Greg was pretty stoked that Zach was playing for one of his NHL favorites, and I of course had to look him up. I'm like, I don't know. I think I know Bertuzzi, and I know Pavel Bure, and the Sedin boys. And that's about it, right? Like,
yes.
I'm rookie green hockey mom.
I looked up Kaminsky and you saw all those penalty minutes,
and then I went, oh shit! And I will say Zach's game has changed.
He's playing a tougher style of game.
Yeah, for sure.
These kids are so young men.
Yeah.
They're not kids; they're young men.
Yeah.
They're so fortunate to be coached by Kevin. You know, they really are.
They really are. And I don't know if they all appreciate it. I think we can appreciate it looking at how much. And I appreciate every single one of Zach's coaches. There are 2 coaches I can't remember at all. Every other coach, we're in contact with all the time. These 2 coaches, they had so many kids drop out of rep hockey after those 2 coaches that you kind of, there must be a reason I don't remember them, right?
Oh, yeah.
There must be a reason I don't.
I write about that extensively, you know.
Like Ian Verrigan, who has
a bad coach will ruin a kid for life.
Oh, for sure. And one of the things that I don't think coaches realize, like when Zach got traded out of Nanaimo.
Yeah, I'm going to stop you there. Explain that. For those of you who don't know, Zach was once traded. What was that like for him? What was that like for you? Walk us through that whole process.
Well, I don't know. I think you get deer in headlights that it actually happened. Like, rookie green. No clue. There's no manual to this whole process. So you're dealing with a 17-year-old kid in high school who is green and excited to be here, thinks he's here, well, there in Nanaimo, thinks he's there, and they get a little flatline, right? It's just natural. You get comfortable in your job.
Sure.
You get comfortable in your job. Anyway, Zach...
Your son just wrote, "It's an experience for sure."
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
He's one
Zach, come on over. Come on over,
Wouldn't even
please.
sit with me at dinner. Well, he did, but.
You'll love it here. Trust me.
Anyway, so
We're so happy to have you, Zach. You really are.
I can't say how he felt, but I know watching it from the side, we loved the Bucks. Like the owners, Brenda and Phil, were amazing, and Cam Miller was fantastic. Like he really nurtured Zach into his own, right? Like he was great. And Zach, he got scratched, and he goes, "Oh, it's just the rotation. It's all good." And then he got scratched again. It's just a rotation. It's all good. Gets scratched again. Fails a math test. He doesn't fail math. Math is his thing. He doesn't fail math. Then he's going to the arena for a game. He has a car accident. Totals a taxi cab. So, I think there was some stress on him.
Sure.
But
Like on any young man.
well, any person going
Sure.
up to their boss going, "What's going on? Like, I
Sure.
didn't get the good paperwork today," or "How are they getting that sale and I'm not? Like, why are you, you know?" But I think from a parent perspective, any coaches that are listening, I said to Brenda and Phil, I would have rather been given the heads up.
Right.
But the flip side to that, I'm pretty unique. And I admit, I am a pretty unique human. I love the fact we're getting more Twitter followers because
Yes.
I tweet.
awesome.
Yes, we.
I'm like, "Yay!"
Yes.
So there's more mommies now that
Yes.
are tweeting in, and I'm like, "Ah!" And so I
Absolutely.
think that's pretty awesome, and people are engaging with it more. And as a parent looking into that lens, I would have preferred Brendan Phil or the coach told us, because he's still a minor. He's still in high school.
Yes.
I'm the one who's
That's
helped
Serge
him.
Bogosian. Who? Somebody's asking who's that person.
So I'm the one who's helped him navigate that U16 tryout. I'm the one that's helped steer him to maintain his passion, right?
Yeah. So now at that age you get traded. How does school work? Is it all
He
online?
was fucked.
Gotcha.
There-
Okay.
He was so grade 12. Grade 12 sucked. He was going to go into engineering. That was what he wanted to do. So
How far was the place that he got traded?
you know BC?
A little
So
bit, yeah.
Vancouver Island,
Yep.
beautiful, kind of close to Mom. I could see the lights
Right.
over the ocean, and I like felt like I'm a ferry right away, and I could
Right.
almost reach out and
Right.
grab him.
My friend lives up there. It's beautiful.
It was gorgeous, and he had great billet family that we found actually, and like the whole town was awesome, and the school was great, and he had really great friends. Ezra McNabb, he's the equipment guy at the rink, and he's an awesome kid. He's on my Facebook and messages me, and I message him, and he's a great kid. But Zach made a lot of good friends. Nanaimo,
Oh yeah.
Sickamoose.
It's far. Yeah.
Yeah, the Sickamoose was a 6-hour ride, Zach? 6 hours?
6 hours.
6 hours from our house. And
Like from here to San Diego.
Right. And we're not the same weather.
No.
no.
It could be snowing. It could be raining.
And I don't do snow roads.
Right.
So so he gets traded out of there. And Brenda told me, Lisa, we can't tell parents because it's a business. And we can't tell the parents because sometimes they
I
aren't
get
like
that.
you.
I get
They
that.
are
I
like
get
those
that.
crazy dads.
I get that.
Who are standing there and don't like.
This is a profession. This is business.
But as a rookie family going
Yes.
in, you don't get told that this is what can, could, or should happen, and how to not manipulate your child through that, but how to guide them. I
Right.
guess is the better term.
Well, that's why we're doing this. That's why we're asking that question, because
It's very
there's a
unique 'cause
parent.
It's not like they're 25-year-old NHL professional players where it's business. You
Yeah.
get traded, too bad. You're making money. This is a 17-year-old
And
kid.
to your point
Yeah.
about the psyche of a coach and what they can
Yes.
do to a kid, I've helped 4 of Zach's friends this year who have already graduated and gone to play juniors. One of them's playing in Revelstoke. He's actually still in school because he's a December birthday. And he was ready to pack it in because they're not having that communication that they used to with their midget coaches. Like I think maybe we baby them too long.
Right.
If that makes any sense at all.
No, it does.
If they are thinking of going into this realm, it's not to say you want to cut the umbilical cord before they get to midget, but I really like seeing my kids smile.
Of course.
I liked being the parent at the Nanaimo Bucks practices watching. I was the only parent there, but I liked watching.
Yes, it's a blessing.
But it's not that you shouldn't be there. It's that you're needed in a different way, and
Right.
they've got to build that relationship with their coaches.
Yes.
But
Agreed.
they Twitter so much now, and they Snapchat each other that they can't have this conversation with their coach.
That's true. Yeah.
They can't sit there. I would not think Zach could feel comfortable. Sorry, Zach.
Lisa, Sean's the best in the business right here.
Oh, wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be Sean. Say hello.
Sean's beautiful
We're going to talk
coffee.
about Sean's coffee later.
It's
Look at
by
that.
Super Mom. Super Mom.
Oh, that is amazing.
It's Super Mom. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
But
How good is that? Isn't it?
it's delicious. Oh, it's nice and sweet. Thank you. Sweeten me up. But I don't think Zach could sit and have a conversation with Kevin. He could sit and have a conversation with Cam because he's built that relationship. So as much team bonding as the teams do, I think they've also got to do it with the coach. And the coach has still got to have that persona of
Yes.
the shit stops here, you freaking work. It's,
Well-
but you've got to be able to have that mutual respect of being able to talk to them and say, hey, why have you got me sitting here? What do you want me to do there?
Communication.
Yeah, the communication has to be more fluid, I think, so that it's not such a deer in headlight shocker for some of these rookie kids who have talent.
Well, we talk about it even with our kids at 13 years of age, playing travel for a couple of years now. They're not the average 13-year-old.
No, they're not.
You're like a 16-year-old now
are.
in the world
Yeah.
because it's just the way things are. And
Yeah. Well, we had a billet stay with us last year, which I can't go into. But I can say that when his coach came to pick him up, I said, at the end of the day, because hockey's going to end, we're not all going to be as lucky as Mark and Kevin. And
Right.
they're not going to all be able to make a career out of it. They have to have something to fall back on, right?
Yep.
If they're really lucky like Mark and Kevin, they're going to get lifelong careers out of it. But at the end of the day, I said to this coach that came to pick up this lovely billet child, that...
sarcasm.
Was there sarcasm where?
Probably
Where?
not watching.
Right. Yes.
I didn't say his name. Anyway, the coach came to pick him up, and we have a relationship with those coaches, and they're great coaches. And I said, at the end of the day, what I care about for Zach isn't that he got the highest points on the team, isn't that he was top notch or whatever on the points or the penalties or whatever. I care that that child has 20 reference letters from every single coach and every employer that he's had.
That's awesome.
And I care
That's the forever
that's
stuff.
the kid
Yep.
that is going out into the world because of hockey.
Yep.
If he hadn't had hockey and had to pay for half,
Yep.
he wouldn't have had his first job at 12 refereeing.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have had Cyprus.
Exactly.
He wouldn't have had mentorship, helping coach little kids. He wouldn't have had all these experiences to make him the kid he is.
I agree. And because sometimes, and I get it, because if you don't know, people like to fill in these gaps. And people say, well, why would I want to play travel? My kid's not going to play pro. Or what? It's not about that.
It's not about that at all.
And you and I know that. I mean, we know this.
My kids' best friends are all from hockey, not from school.
No,
Right.
well, Zach's got two very best friends from school, but
Most of them are from hockey.
I tell you, my parents thought I was mental. The year we had our car accident for grade 8, Zach went. School sucked for Zach. He wasn't a great student, and for grade 8, I made the choice that we'd put him in this hockey academy at Sentinel. It was $5,000, and they were on the ice 4 days a week, and one day they'd do racquetball or yoga or something. And it was a really good program, and Jake was also there, and a whole bunch of his other buddies, and a couple of buddies that weren't nice kids. And my dad said, "Why on earth are you paying to put him up there?" And I said, "Because Dad, he's not doing drugs.
Amen.
I know exactly where that kid is.
Yep.
If I had to do it all over again, I would work those 3 jobs and put him through that."
Yep.
Hands down. I picked him up every single lunch hour, and I can't remember how he got home every day because I know I didn't pick him up. I think Ted Duffield's dad brought him to somewhere, and then I met them somewhere or something. But I would pick him up every day at lunch, and he didn't have time to get into that social pool that was smoking the vape behind the building, that was doing the drugs around the corner, that was arranging the party, that was... And do I regret that he doesn't have that close connection with a lot of those kids? You betcha. I do, because, you know, a little bit. But really, I got to spend that time with my kid. And I got to coach him through life. I got to hear all that conversation. The nuts and the bolts.
That's the stuff.
That's what the relationships are made of.
Yep.
Zach and I could sit in the car and say nothing.
And you're still communicating.
We were. Yes. He could blast the music. We could do our stupid rituals. So we've got stupid rituals.
Give us a ritual.
So our stupid ritual is every time we'd go to a goddamn game, that kid, you'd have to lift your feet over bridges.
Okay.
And you'd have to hold your breath through tunnels.
All right.
And the Cassiar connector is a pretty big tunnel. And we'd all...
Yeah, I was going to say, don't do that in Manhattan with rush hour. You're in that tunnel a while.
Man. There's a lot of bridges between Lions Bay and Delta, right? Oh, he was a funny kid. But anyway, so Matt Stang picked him up in Sycamoose, which is where Zach knows Ben from.
Ben Schoenfeld, defenseman, president.
Yeah, number 3.
He's been on.
Oh, and he's tweeting too?
Yes.
Oh, my boys are going to give me grief when I get home. So when Matt Stang released Zach, like, Zach's always been that bubble. That he was always good, but he wasn't Jake good, right? Like, Jake could thrust himself over that hurdle, and there's no doubt he'll be in the NHL. He's a great, great kid. And great family. Like, good.
That's important.
Good. Really good kid on and off the ice, which I think is way more important.
Absolutely.
There's a couple of little shits that are a bit of a problem.
I'm okay.
You're okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Sure.
But
thank you very much.
Thanks, dear.
You're welcome.
He was...
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
That coach...
Look
Getting the yin-yang.
Look at that. Look at what Sean can do, my friends.
That's amazing.
See, mine's like Supermom.
You are Supermom.
I know it's supposed to be a yin-yang, but I'm going with Supermom.
Well, you know what?
Supermom.
I was going to say, right?
Whatever.
Supermom works.
Perfect. Look at that. Beautiful.
So the difference, Dan Lemming didn't say anything. It was come to the rink at 11:30, and so I talked Zach through that one, and he said, well, what do you think's going to happen? And I said, he phones and says, I got the meeting. And of course, Greg's in the background, and he's going, just tell him, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, Zach, it's going to be one of 3 things. Either he's going to tell you to pull your socks up, he's going to tell you why you're frickin' sitting and scratched, or he's going to tell you you're being traded. And he's like, oh. So I said, you got one of 3 things. You make sure you're polite, you make sure you listen, you make sure you use receptive language, you do all those things that you've done in your job interviews, you do all those things. So he goes in and he phones me, and he sounded like he was crying. He did. He sounded like he was crying. And I don't know for sure. But I said, are you okay? And he goes, yeah, I'm like so happy. I said, well, what do you mean? You don't sound happy. He goes, Mom, I'm like so happy. I'm so relieved. I know where I'm going. I know what's going on. I know why I'm not. I know.
I got answers.
I got answers. So the problem for me is the mom sitting in the background, and why I had the conversation with Brenda is the sitting in the background. Why can't you have that conversation earlier?
Right.
Hey, I'm looking to trade you. I don't feel like it's working great. What do you see? Where do you want to be? What do you want to do? Like, and I know Kevin's got his trade coming up, and I tell you, those 5 injury days have got all those same feelings churning up inside me. I don't think they probably are in Zach, but they certainly are flashbacking for me, going, oh shit, what's coming? Like you're on your level now. You're doing what you should be doing. You're getting your points. You're making your hits. You're doing. We think you're doing, but there's always that undercurrent of, do you really know? Because that communication piece is elusive.
Right.
And I get why they've got to keep it elusive, but at the same time, you're dealing with another human being.
Agreed.
So if that human being's mature enough to handle it, then why not just have the dialogue? But keep it. Does that make any sense?
That makes sense. I mean, and it makes sense because of what they say in terms of they got to keep it, and what you're saying makes sense.
Like, there's got to be a way to bridge it.
Yes.
And, like these friends of Zach's that I've been helping this year, the mom would phone and go, "You've been through this. Can you talk to him?" I'm like, of course I can talk to him. So I'm like, breathe. We even tried. Cam Miller told me 2 of the kids that quit after Christmas. And he said, you know, this kid's so good. Can you try and talk to him? Because where they wanted to trade him is St. Paul's, where 2 of Zach's friends are.
Right.
And at that point, you realize how small this hockey world is.
It is a small community.
It's very small.
It's really small.
It's amazing how many people, like Kevin's here, and he has people that he's played with in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Like they're like a whole family.
And hockey becomes your family. Yeah. Like you guys have become. I look forward to your tweets in the morning.
Same with you.
Absolutely. Like, hey, Darren's up, and I can see you when you guys are up to stuff, and I'm like, I was telling my girlfriends at home, that's the family. It becomes the extended family.
Amen.
Every one of Zach's billet families are our families. They've all touched our lives in a positive way and influenced him, right?
That's another side question. I know we're going, a little long, but walk us through the billet process. So
can I finish the Matt Stang
please.
one first?
Yeah.
So Matt Stang phones me up and he goes, Lisa, I've got cuts coming down from Junior A and the Dub. And Zach's the only one I know that we can find a home for back at his minor hockey association. And I said, Matt, you got to do what you got to do. I could have been the bitch mom and made them keep him. I could have done something different.
That's not going to end.
But that's not.
No.
Everybody is so connected.
Yes.
I've heard which kids are cancers in the dressing room on every single team.
We used to have parent cuts because we cut the kid because of the parents.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Every association has a parent cut.
Absolutely.
I wish I could have cut some parents. Shit. that one that would just go, stay with it, stay with it.
Oh my God.
Yara was like, could you imagine them in the bedroom? No!
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, score!
Stay with it! No! No, I can't get that out of my head!
It's hilarious.
No one will ever say that at any of your games. Anyway, so Matt actually told us what was going on with Zach, and he's like, he needs his confidence. I'm not giving him bench time because I've got such skill on my team. But if you know that as a player, and you know that as a coach, and you're telling your player, that's a different relationship, right? Like, you can respect that coach a little more. I can respect Matt Stagg more than I can respect Dan. And I like Dan. And I'm sure he was a good coach for Zach. I didn't know him because, I've tried to get to know Kevin. He's a little harder to get to know, but I try to get to know him because these people are with my son all the time, and I want to make sure that I'm as invested almost as he is. Does that make sense?
My master's degree is in education, right? And I bring that up because I've coached Division III football, I've coached Division I softball in college. And there are times we have to have conversations with people. Because the first thing is, oh, you don't think I'm good enough. No, that's not it at all.
Yeah.
Sometimes it really is a numbers game.
Yeah.
If I could use the softball analogy, we had this one situation, no names. We had 3 very good first basemen. And that's the position she played. She was a great player. But there was no room at the end for another first baseman.
Yeah.
So we would be hurting you, like you mentioned, that by just you riding pine,
Yeah.
never playing.
Yeah.
You could be the third best goalie in the league, but if the other two best goalies are on the team, you're going to get.
So
Yeah.
it's a fit thing a lot of times. You're more than talented enough to play at
And
this
there's
level.
so many people who are at this level, right?
Yes.
Like you don't know where you're going to end up. You don't know. So I said when Zach left Nanaimo, he was obviously upset. And he's like, oh, well, when he left Port Moody, because the Port Moody coaches changed again because Ron ended up quitting, and yeah, that was kind of sad. But that coach changed, and Zach's like, I'm not going to play there, and I said, you should never close a door.
Never burn a bridge. Never close a door.
And that's why we had him do his SAT or his ACTs. And he ended up getting $10,000, almost $10,000 in Canada in scholarships. So that's why
Perfect.
Mark can't take him early, because Mark
Right.
had dibs first, right? So you still want to stay true to Mark, but he's got Canadian scholarships to use up. So I've told him he has to use those up. And anyway, but Matt sent him as a rental to Oceanside Generals. So Zach actually played a game against Nanaimo,
Right.
and the smile on his face, talking to his old teammates from Nanaimo,
Sure.
that smile, his billet mom sent me the picture, and you can just read, that smile. It's, I'm where I belong, I'm on the ice with my buddies, I'm having a great time,
Yep.
I'm here, right? Like, I'm here. And we always said to Zach, wherever this journey takes you, this is your journey.
Yep.
When he got cut out of Sycamoose, he, in the summer before all of this happened, he got invited from Matt, got him a call up to Wayway, Manitoba. You know where Wayway?
It's called that for a reason.
Manitoba. So he was at a tryout in Chase, and he was doing really well in Chase, the junior B team there, and Zach said to the coach, look, I've got an opportunity to go to a junior A tryout, I really want to go. And it was the second last day of this camp, and Coach Fox said to him, well, I'm pretty sure you can be on my roster, and you're stupid if you go. And Zach's like, I feel like I gotta go. And I said to Zach, in life you can't have regrets, buddy.
Nope.
If you feel like you gotta go, he goes, well, how am I gonna do this? And my husband's chirping in the background going, are you insane? I said, you know what, it's his journey.
Amen.
No one said he has to go. No one says he should go. And if he wants to go, let him go. I gave him my van.
Right.
I filled it with food, which he said you shouldn't have.
Oh, by the way, there's some
tractor
food
that.
right here. We'll talk about this before we end up. What's the best kind of guest bearing gifts?
And from Canada.
And from Canada, yes.
So he went to Wayway in my van. He slept in the back of my van across the country. Went to the tryouts.
That's a long
It is a long
way
way.
across the country.
And I ran away to Hawaii.
Wow.
So you went the other way.
I went the other way.
So you
I
created more
ran-
distance.
I ran away. I packed our house because we sold it. And signed with a Fresno State pen, by the way. They offered.
Nice. Yes.
And,
The new house looks beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. I love my new house. It doesn't have the view the last one had. Sorry, Greg. So he got cut for. He was phoning me through the tryout. And I said, "How's it going?" He goes, "Well, he's gonna stick with the top 30 guys, and I think I'm in the top 30, but I'm definitely not in the top 22." And I said, "Well, at least you know that. So what are you gonna do?" And he goes, "Well, I think I'm gonna go through the meeting. I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna be respectful. I'm gonna let him know that this probably isn't the right fit because I know I'm not your top 28 or your top 22, whatever the roster size is." And so he came back home, and then he started now where am I gonna be? And he is here.
We're so happy to have him here.
I'm happy
He's
he's
wonderful
here.
to watch him play.
Aw, thank you.
You know,
I like
and
him. He's a good kid.
so we're almost at an hour. We're gonna wrap up in a minute, but
Are we already? See, like this kid doesn't
Yes.
shut us.
Yeah.
but real quick, because our parents are gonna have to deal very soon with the whole billet situation.
Oh, right.
So if you could kind of walk a parent through that.
Shit, we've been really, 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 really lucky. This time Zach's been a little messy, which hasn't approved with me. It was very clean at Karen's house. I don't know what's wrong with him at this house, so I got him a dog, so he'd have to be cleaner.
Right.
But the billet process, the teams kind of take care of it. Like Sandy.
Yeah, she does a great job.
Yeah, Sandy
Phenomenal.
Hyde is the billet coordinator for the Fresno Monsters. She does a great job.
Yeah.
Sandy Hyde,
She
props to you.
handles all the passports for the foreign players and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
she was phenomenal. And Zach ended up staying with Karen and Doug to start with David's. Oh, I love David's. David's is one of my
Temple
favorites.
Temple Manis. Yes. He's the fashion plate.
What's that?
He's the fashion guy of the team.
He is hilarious.
He's a great
Well,
player.
that too. But he smiles.
Yes.
Have you noticed? He smiles. I can tell you every one of Kevin's players is really good because they smile. Have you seen Cody smile? Cody smiles
does
with a
smile.
good smile.
Yeah, oh,
It's a
absolutely.
Good smile. He's
So
a good boy too.
walk us through some of this stuff real quick before we say
Oh.
goodnight and go to our infomercial. Do you want to do this while I get him ready?
Sure.
Some of your stuff here.
Yes.
Well,
Jackie's watching.
oh, Jackie.
Hi, Jackie.
We have treats for Jackie.
We have treats for Jackie.
We have whippets, which I have no idea what they are.
Whippets for Jackie.
And we have Tim Hortons ground.
The official sponsor of the NHL, Tim Hortons.
And we have maple mints for the wives.
Awesome. Maple Ice Mints from Roots, which is a major Canadian clothing company.
The standard Canadian staples.
Yes.
Sounds good.
So there you go. Yeah, thank you for joining us. That was fun. We went a little long, but I think we had a good time.
Had a good time.
So I think we're gonna bring in Steve now.
Steve, you're up. So,
Hello.
For those of you, I know you can't see me, this is Steve. He's a gentleman. Sean. I keep saying Sean. It's Steve.
Steve.
Sean.
Steve
Sean, whatever. No, I had Sean right first couple times.
Super.
I put name tags on my own kids. Sean is an artist, not just with his coffee, but he makes these beautiful boards. No machines, just hand and chisel. And Sean, why don't you talk a little bit about the genesis of your coffee, of
Okay.
everything?
Okay.
And phone number, name of your business, all that stuff.
Well, I've been making skateboards for some time. To talk about coffee, I got to talk about skateboards. But I've been making them for some time. Never sold one until very recently. But been making them for 15 years, and I make them because it's a passion of mine. And I can't ever expect those boards to sell. So I tried to figure out something that I could do that pay the bills eventually. And coffee was one of my second passions. And so, I was at a time in my life where I wanted to decide. I had to decide, if I was going to work for somebody else or if I was going to start my own thing. And I got thrown into this coffee thing, basically, with very little plan. I'm the guy that has no business plan. I just did it because I love it. And, I just focus on making the absolute best cappuccino that I possibly can. And then somebody who's wise, who was here earlier, once told me that if you focus on the quality and not the money, that you won't be able to stand out of the way of the money. So I've been waiting for this wave of money to come along.
It's gonna come eventually.
But I just keep focusing on bettering my cappuccino, and I have skateboards. Actually, there's a couple boards right there if you'll grab them. Right there on the barbecue. See them? I'm sorry. I should have been more prepared. Walk over here.
So where can people get your coffee and?
You can find me on Facebook at Kind Streetboards and Espresso.
Okay.
That's probably the easiest way to find me.
Look at the detail.
So I make these by hand, no power tools. That board has 85 hours
Wow.
in it already. So that's like my artistic passion. Maybe in the wrong market for these, but
They're beautiful.
With social media, you need to
Take them up to Whistler.
Yes.
We need to
Or
tag
Coast.
Whistler
There you
for some
Anywhere on the
skateboards.
beach. This is something that a surfer would maybe buy to get down to the water.
Okay.
My opinion. But can't ever expect these to sell. So coffee, that's where coffee comes in. I make one drink, no barista.
But here's what I'm going to tell you about Sean. He's a bon vivant. The man has a Harley and literally drives his shop by the hub, correct?
Yes.
Talk about that.
So I had the bike already.
How great is that, right?
That's pretty cool.
Grandpa passed. He lived a long life. He's very, very. He's ready to go be with his wife, and so no negative there. It was a positive thing, and Grandpa left me a little bit of money, which is all gone now, all bought on the Harley and this. But the first thing that I did was buy the Harley, because Grandpa wanted me to do something that made me happy, and Harleys make me happy. So he insisted with the money that he gave me to do what made me happy. So the first thing that I did was bought a Harley. After the Harley, was looking to invest some way, and I was going to buy this bicycle vending trike.
It's like Tim
And
There's no women in.
one thing led to another. I ended up buying a trailer, long story short, for the Harley that I already had, and that kind of became a thing, you know. I travel around with my espresso machine and my Harley and my boards, and I go anywhere and got a smile on my face while I'm doing it.
That's
you know?
awesome. You gotta do what makes you happy.
I smile when I tweet.
Yes.
I smile when I tweet.
I think smiling is very,
Very
very, very
important.
important.
It is.
And I tell people this, you know, I tell my kids this, I tell my various customers this, but happiness is a decision that you have to make. And you can't seek happiness. Happiness has to come with, it sounds easy to make this decision, but it really is simple and easy to make this decision. You can't seek happiness and go searching for it. You have to start by being
You have
happy.
to feel it.
Yes. So if you can, you know, project happiness, then happiness will surround you. And that's basic science. That's what science is telling us now with quantum mechanics and whatnot. Positive attracts positive, negative attracts negative. Down to the molecular level. So being happy and then projecting happiness opens up many, many doors for me, and you know, I couldn't be more grateful.
So one more time, give them the name of your business, phone number, and where are you going to be?
I am going to be where the Harley takes me.
But you'll be here a lot.
I'll be here on Mondays, but that's what it says on the card actually, wherever the Harley takes me. But the company name is Kind Street Boards and Espresso, KIND, and then the rest like it sounds. You can find me on Facebook with that title, or you can reach me directly with my cell phone number at 559-558-0106.
Perfect. All right. Thank you very much.
I appreciate the airtime.
We appreciate
I
it.
appreciate it.
And I can show you my phone right now. I am a follower of Fresno Hockey Talk.
We appreciate you.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
am too. It's a smile.
It is a
It's
smile.
a super mom
It's all
smile.
kinds of things.
Yeah. It's a super mom smile.
All right.
We got.
Much love.
Thank you so much.
Moses right next to it, right there. That'll be good.
Right here?
Moses right there.
I'm going to let you guys borrow my gimbal next time.
We usually have one.
Do you usually have one?
Yeah.
Right there, yeah.
I have one in my trailer at all times. Pretty much.
Oh,
Nobody saw that.
nobody saw what?
So what? We'll edit that part.
He never drops anything.
No? I saw nothing.
Exactly right.
There you go.
Heard nothing.
Oh, just right next to it.
Right here. Okay.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. He's taking you. Totally.
All right, what do we got?
What have you got? I've got some happy monsters that smile, and you've got a cigar coming over here for cigar of the night, don't you?
Oh yeah, we got a cigar coming up for cigar of the month.
Oh, a cigar of the month.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's the what is it go? The new one, the Cohiba Blue.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Yeah, and of course Cohiba has been around 100 years, you know. And actually, it's going to be our cigar of the month, because we're going to have we have our monthly cigar tasting, and we're going to present this cigar with Pendragon beer. Paste them together and the kid is the connoisseur really on beer because he likes drinking beer, and I like smoking cigars.
It's a good match.
You know, yeah. I let him do the birthday because I haven't had a beer in 35 years. You know.
Yes, amen to that.
Yeah. But anyway, the Cohiba Blue, you know, it's got it's hand rolled in the Dominican Republic. It's got the Nicaraguan Habano filler. Habano meaning Cuban seed.
Cuban seed.
Yeah. Which gives it that pep or spice, where you might want to say.
Yeah, and there's some people who say the soil over there now is actually better than the Cuban soil. With the Cuban seed, it's even a better smoke.
Yeah, I mean, let's call it like it is. They do know what they're doing.
Amen.
Yes.
You know? However, there's some other people that have left the country and taken their seed with them and gone to like Honduras, Nicaragua, the Dominican Republic, and take that seed and plant it in another area.
And it's
You know?
and as a long-time cigar smoker, I enjoy that. I've had some Cubans that are great, don't get me wrong, but what's coming out of Nicaragua and some of the other countries, it's amazing.
Yes.
Using that seed, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, you know. So if you take your family's history and the seed and their experience, their knowledge, their roller, and everything they've learned in Cuba, and you go, you know, 50 yards down the road and plant it in a different country, you know, you can come up with a good tasting cigar for a third of the price. You know, and it's got a Nicaraguan binder, and it's got a Nicaragua Habano wrapper. It's got a dark, oily wrapper. The wrapper gives it a lot of the taste, a lot of the pep. You know, everybody's looking for, you know, that little, you know, the little head
Little
change.
rush, little head rush.
The little head change.
Yeah.
The one you can't get pulled over, you know, and get a ticket for,
Yes.
or hauled off to jail. That one.
Gives you a little bit of a high. Yeah.
Laced with something?
No, it's
No.
natural.
It's all natural, you know.
Before we wrap up, what's getting bigger and bigger is your monthly comedy shows. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, we got a comedy show coming up on, I believe, the 23rd of this month.
Friday the 23rd.
Yeah, Friday the 23rd. And what a person can do is now, like, he can come in here and purchase a ticket for $20, you know, and he'll come in here and be able to smoke, drink some beer and wine, and laugh your ass off for 2 hours.
That's a good deal. Yeah.
You know, we got a promoter that usually gets like one of these HBO headliners, you know, and brings them over here, and then they bring your upcoming wannabe comedians, because let's face it, you just don't get on HBO.
No.
You know, you got to work your way up. Like
You don't get on the NHL.
Yeah, you don't get-
You're with Kevin Kaminsky.
yeah, you got to
working
pay.
your way up.
Yeah, you got to pay the price.
dues and
Yeah, you got to
work.
practice. You got to learn how to deliver.
Yeah.
You know, you got to know how to go behind the goal, lift it up, and whoom, put
There
it
you
in
go.
backwards.
I
That's
know we talk hockey, and I keep bringing up. He's a master golfer, and how often? You've been playing for how long?
I've been playing 27 years.
And how often do you still work on your game?
I play 3 times a week.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the only way you stay consistent and competitive, is you got to get on the ice. I mean, the green. You got to stay on the green, you know?
That's right.
But, you know, so you bring some of these upcoming comedians, you know, and, you know, they need to practice, so they come and they practice here, and they're quite hilarious. You know?
yeah.
That's why we call it the humor door,
Humor door. I like that.
you know? The humor,
Mom's-tastic.
yeah.
Well, we want to thank Lisa Turpin for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I mean,
As I blather on and all
there was no
that.
blathering.
Oh, okay.
Right? Everybody's listening, you know.
Yeah, we could.
You know the coaches I forgot to mention though? Zach's amazing midget coaches, Riley, Rylan, and Cuddy. They were fantastic coaches for Zach.
Excellent. And, you know, just, I hope you learned a lot. Cigar Maestro, there really is no other choice in Fresno. There's some good places. If they were closed because they were, you know, retiling the place, but this is the only place to be. It's called the Fine Cigar for a reason. I've been a member here since 2009, and your family when you're here.
And it's not too.
Great ventilation.
I maybe could have brought Leia.
Yes.
Little monster Leia.
Yeah, we keep it ventilated in
No,
here.
it's not too.
She wants more women, though, she said.
Yeah, it's like Tim Hortons. I was in Tim Hortons in Richmond.
I saw those
There
pictures.
was there was no women in the
Wants
Tim
more women
except
in
me.
here.
So
There's nights we got a lot of women here.
Oh yeah, yeah. We got some VIP members. Women have their own locker.
there you go.
You know.
So, you know, FHT Sports will be doing a drawing. We'll let you know who wins these tickets.
I entered.
She has an entry.
I have an entered, and so does Greg Turpin.
Yes.
And
We
remember,
have our entries in.
Selling Arena Thursday night, Friday night, and then Heritage Night on Saturday night. You know, we're putting together a Hockey Hall of Fame. Maybe one of the people on the ice will be nominated or inducted by us in the Hall of Fame. We have the documentary coming as well. But please, make it your business to get to the Selling Arena. Tickets are going fast. Welcome the Monsters homeward all again. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. So long. Farewell.